Genji 2 is an action game which is based on Japanese history. Being based on history, the stages of the game will also be based on famous battles which actually took place in ancient Japan. So here's this giant enemy crab.
You guys ready for Christmas?
Kermit.
No. No.
I haven't had any Christmas show.
Shit's so expensive. Oh my god.
Don't worry, it'll probably only get worse.
Yeah, I just bought my new graphics card, my new power supply and everything, because I was freaked out with the new new graphics cards coming out next year. And they already announced that they're discontinuing most of the 40 series too, like already. So
shit.
I was like, okay, that's kind of scary.
Snatch them up.
And then we're expecting prices to go up once those tariffs get in place. I was like, okay, that's kind of scary. And then AMD has just straight up said, like, we'll make like some mid-range graphics cards, but we're not going to compete with NVIDIA. Like, no, we're not going to do that again. And I'm like, okay. So NVIDIA just can do whatever they want with the pricing because they have no competition anymore, essentially. That's pretty fucking scary.
Did you see the rumored prices for the 5090? Like earlier?
They've been everywhere. I've seen that $1,500. I've seen them at $2,000.
Yeah, I've seen the $2,000 one. Yeah, no. And that's like before tariffs and everything, like before the potential price spike at the beginning of by the time they actually release.
The last price thing I saw regarding games was like that it could even affect like the price of PS5 Pros and Switch 2s and stuff.
Oh, definitely.
Anything that has a microchip in it.
True, yeah.
Is anything electronics based, basically, even vacuums and anything, dude.
Oh, y'all gonna have dirty ass houses. Can't vacuum.
I mean, you'll feel the effects of this a bit too.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty far.
You are our biggest trading partner, my guy.
Nah.
I know. And he just announced that he's gonna drop 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada.
Yep. So you are going to feel it.
Yep.
I'm not the trading man.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
You buy things, right?
You are I think by a sizable margin our biggest trading partner in terms of country, because I think it's you that
make the trades.
It doesn't matter. We don't make the laws.
You're the consumer.
You are the consumer, so you pay for it.
For all those times you complain about how your games are more expensive than ours, You're ready.
Welcome.
Dude, I say that and you're like, actually, no, you're not. So
I mean, actually they aren't,
though.
It's true. Yeah, yours are actually cheaper. They just look more expensive.
You're full of shit.
I'm not.
No, dude, we looked up the conversion rates. We sat down and we figured out that you are indeed paying like $2 or $3 less per game than we do.
Nah.
Denial.
He's going to complain about that.
Nah, that's what you're full of.
Your $100 game is going to be $130. You're going to cry.
And we will laugh.
Ours are also $130.
We'll do that thing where you laugh and kind of start turning into crying at the same time.
Here's our 1 hour podcast special of us crying about game prices for 4 days.
Well, you nailed it. Speaking of a 1 hour podcast special, welcome to episode 26 of the Giant Indie Crab Podcast. We're here. We made it. We're a little bit late because of scheduling conflicts, but we will always be there for you. I'm Fliz. You're wonderfully handsome, intelligent, buff, rich. Give me more.
He is handsome.
Yeah. All right. I'll stick with that. Host for the evening, and I'm joined by 3 even more handsome fellows: Kyler,
hello,
and Tsun,
yeah,
and Strider.
I'm fucking ugly. Don't lie to me.
Everybody's.
Don't you look like Jesus?
To me.
Anyway,
I think you're handsome as fuck. Yo, I saw you in that cat shirt that one time. It was pretty cool.
You literally mocked me for it.
Maybe that sounds like something I would do.
He does have a love, though.
Yeah. I've told people this before. Look, if I'm giving you shit, it's because I like you. If I'm not talking to you, then we have a problem. That's the difference. And I talk to you all the time. I talk to you every day. So it must be love, right?
It's definitely something. We'll go with love.
It's something. It's something. Well, which one of y'all wants to go first? I could go first. Do I get to go first this time?
Sure. Pop off.
All right. I just got one thing. We were going to talk about Fortnite, but I just don't care. we might
You want to talk about this? Yeah.
Okay.
We're not
No,
talking
it
about
wasn't.
it.
Look, okay. What we were talking about is because it came up at Thanksgiving.
Yeezys.
Well, okay, that too. So yeah, you can buy like Nike brand shoes and an emote to show them off for real money in Fortnite now, which
This
I don't
psycho.
know. It's something. And so I was talking to my brother-in-law, some guy at Thanksgiving. And
How big is your gathering? Goddamn.
there was like 5 people.
Oh,
no.
So I was talking to him, and he was telling me that his kids love Fortnite and all this, and he's like, "Man, they spend money, and it's not even." He's not a game person, right? So he was like confused at like, why are they spending all this money on things that don't even help you at the game? Because he's like, yeah, he wants all these Fortnite V-Bucks cards and all this, and I had to tell him like, dude, you suck at the game. Like, what am I even buying you this for? I was like, damn. But it also led me to realize that Fortnite, like, people don't even play Fortnite to be good anymore. They just play it as like a social thing, like Roblox and Minecraft and stuff. And that was really all I had. I just thought it was kind of interesting that it's not like, I mean, yeah, there's a competitive scene, obviously, but it's 100% more a social place for all the kids, you know?
Well, the crazy thing is, this comes from an analytics from Newzoo, is that apparently Call of Duty and Fortnite, those two titles, make up 92% of all gaming time.
That's insane.
That doesn't
Which
They're
is
so niche.
Yeah, which is kind of, absurd. So
Man.
when we've talked about in the past of just like how hard it is for new games to just like build an audience, because you gotta good luck grabbing them from Call of Duty and Fortnite. Like that's what you're competing with. So just to put a little
just crazy.
perspective in there.
That's insane too, because like I picked up the most recent Call of Duty. I told myself I wasn't, but my boy that I play with every year, even though we only play for like a couple hours every year, I was like, all right, he got me last Call of Duty. I'll get him this one. We'll swap this year. Nothing's changed. It's the same game every year. It is. They said there was something about this omnidirectional movement or whatever. Yeah, people slide around a little bit more. That's pretty much it. It's just, and the price goes up every year too, and nothing changes. And yet, as you say, 92% of people are playing that or Fortnite, which when there's so many games out there, that's crazy. I don't, we talked about it on a different episode, but like back in the day, it was just that or this. And it's way different now. And you have so many choices, and to just play Nuketown over again, and like, I can't anymore. I feel like I'm wasting my time. But speaking of Call of Duty, one little tidbit of news I had, the game's been out for, I don't know, a month now. And I guess somebody finally hit the max level, right? Which is level like 1,000 or something. After you prestige 10 times at 60 levels each or something, then there's another 1,000 levels. Anyway, it takes an ungodly amount of time. The first person to hit it. Now, people have been, I remember people competed for this back in the day. God, there was that old, is it Kim.com? Does that name ring a bell?
No.
All right. It was a guy who was big in Call of Duty a long time ago. And I remember way back in the day when we were playing PS3s, like it was big news that he hit max level first. Maybe it was him, maybe it was something affiliated with it. I don't know. But that's still going on today. The funny part is there's like groups of streamers, and I think this was from IGN, and they had been basically sharing an account to keep it going 24/7 to be the first ones to hit 1,000. And they got beat by somebody abusing zombie AFK nonsense. They just went into zombies and just AFK'd and let the experience points rain in while they left their PS4 or PS5 on and hit first. And as goofy as that is, the streamers are out there saying, nah, that's cheating. You should get banned. Meanwhile, they're the ones like sharing an account and do it like it's this. They're both mad at each other saying it's illegitimate. And it's just like this weird pillow fight that all y'all are fucking doing it wrong. Like, what are we even? What's the hypocrisy is crazy.
Why is it even like cheating? There's no reward for doing it, is there? Like
Clout. That's it.
Yeah, Twitter likes maybe.
Twitter likes.
Yeah, those are worth more than gold.
The only thing
my
I can think of is there
gosh.
might be an exclusive calling card or something like that.
No, from what I understand, it was just to see what the unlocks were, because nobody knew.
That's silly.
It is silly, but but like I said, we're on the outside. That's like popular. Like this is one of the bigger Reddit threads I read too. Like everybody looked at this. So Call of Duty is just bigger than I give it credit for. It's a juggernaut in disguise to me, but it's there. It's just one of those things that's so in your face about microtransactions and yearly payments and just being the same thing over and over again that I look at it as a scam. But I guess the average person sees that as, all right, next Call of Duty's coming out. Can't wait.
Shoot gun, play game.
Yeah, very normalized. Very normalized.
Yeah.
Scream over Xbox chat.
Yeah. The only other thing is Elon Musk apparently said he wanted to open a game studio. He mentioned it a long time ago. Mentioned it again in a tweet. I'd love to give you more news, but that's the news these days is some guy randomly said a tweet about a thing, and that's all there is. I guess.
Wasn't there a quote in there about him saying he wanted to make games great again or something like that?
Yeah, of course he did. He wants to make a studio specifically devoted to AI gaming. I'm not quite sure what that means. I don't think anybody is, according to all the articles I tried to look into.
Buzzwords.
Yeah, it's just buzzwords. And that was one thing. The other thing is there was another tweet, obviously, where he said he wanted to buy Hasbro so he could own Dungeons and Dragons. The D&D community did not like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's trying to buy the wizard. Yeah, okay.
He's not trying. These are all just like I said, this isn't really even news. Yes, he could very well do these things, but it's just a random tweet. And if you look at half the shitty tweets, it's all word vomit. It's not worth anything. So until he actually does something, I'll consider it rumor and we'll just keep it at that. Unless y'all found something. I know Jacob was looking into it a little bit, but I doubt you found anything.
The only thing I want to comment on is the fact that he said that he wanted to do it because there are too many big companies involved in gaming, and he wanted to bring it back to the people. Was basically what, like a quote unquote paraphrasing it. And it's like, cool, the richest man on earth.
Yeah. I think there was something in there as well about he wanted to end wokeness in gaming, which I think he's mentioned a few times, which, hooray, more white male protagonists. It's fine. I'm not really
silly.
It's whatever.
I've never understood that because even if you do have a problem with that, just don't get the game.
Too hard.
And usually that works. Like there's been a couple where that's kind of been what's happened, and it's calmed
Concord.
down. It's actually done like a lot better now. Like just thinking of like The Last of Us with Ellie and in her DLC, like everyone loved that. And there weren't like complaints about that at all because it was really well written. What people don't like is just bad writing. That's just forced in there to be there. That's really what people don't like. It's nothing to do with wokeness.
It makes me think of the time. Oh God, was it Battlefield 1 or Battlefield 5 where DICE said you don't like it, don't buy it, and then they were like, they reported like sometime after launch, and they're like, well, people aren't buying our game. I wonder why. And they flat out
one.
Was that the one that had that was like supposed to be World War One?
Yeah,
it couldn't have been Battlefield 1. That game popped off. The next one after that failed spectacularly.
Was it World War 2?
Battlefield 1 popped off shortly after. It had the launch time that all Battlefields do, where they launch in a bad state and then get way better.
It's because of, if you remember, they had a female soldier.
That's what
in a time period where that was not really a thing. And she had like she lost her arm and she had a prosthetic. as
Yeah,
well.
like a
and people
functioning
were,
prosthetic robo arm, right?
yeah, no, it wasn't like a robot arm, but it was just like a prosthetic for the time. And people said like that they would not be on the battlefield. Like that's not a real thing. And people were complaining about it. So they said, don't like it, then don't buy it. That's basically what happened. As, they didn't get it. Yeah. And then they ended up doing it. Actually, was a good game. Actually, I really liked Battlefield 1.
Battlefield 1 is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's just the weird argument about it is like, okay, you don't like looking at women. Got it. Like, that's what it boils down to, right? Like that's the I only want to look at Nathan Drake's ass for 12 hours. I don't want to look at anything else. All right, dude, you do you. That's cool.
Yeah. I guess I could see sort of the appeal to having it be historically accurate, but also it's a Battlefield game. Like I wouldn't expect it to be.
Like the problem with Battlefield 1 is there's like not historically accurate, and then there's what the fuck Battlefield 1 was.
Yeah.
Like Battlefield 1 is also, from what I remember, its campaign is kind of like very whiplashy in terms of the first mission to the rest of it. But
I barely remember the campaign.
I don't
to that
remember
game.
the campaign,
I played
yeah.
it too.
the Battlefield 1 campaign, because the opening mission is the one where like a lot of people really liked, but the rest of it was kind of weird in tones. Because the first one was like you were just playing, like it would start with like giving you a name and a time frame basically, and then very quickly you would die and it would move on to the next person in a different like theater of the war. It would jump around quite a few times during the first mission, just showing you how many people are like people are dying left and right here. And then you just had the one-man army situations later, which was very strange compared to the rest of it. And then there's also like every weapon in fucking Battlefield 1 is a prototype. There's as much as they can get away with like trying to stretch the World War I era. But basically what it really should be in a game like about World War I is sitting in a trench for 6 hours.
And then dying of bacterial disease.
Yeah, there wasn't trench warfare, man.
Yeah, there was that one. I like the train place with the trenches and the foxholes and
trains.
stuff.
I liked it.
There was a map. There was a map where you fought a train. And then you did it from foxholes, and then you'd go into the foxholes with a flamethrower and get like 30 kills.
Oh, it was one of the.
wonderful.
I think it was like in the jungle, kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or a
I know
forest.
what one you're talking about. I don't remember the name of it, but that was a fun one. I enjoyed it at least.
No, they got to appeal to the historical accuracy where you just sit in a bunker for 6 days getting shell shocked.
Oh no, thank you, Jan.
Authentic
Man,
experience.
this is not. This is just because it's Battlefield 1. Okay, this has nothing to do with video games. If y'all want to hear about like a really good couple hours, Dan Carlin's Hardcore History on World War I is so good. Google it, YouTube it, get it wherever. It's so good, and it goes through all the experiences, and I can't recommend it enough. But that's not video games. That's just history fun.
Fun.
That's all for me though. That's I whatever y'all got, you go ahead with.
I will run through some of mine real quick if you guys don't mind then.
Go ahead.
I mind.
Okay, then I guess Lionel, you all right. Kick us off. According to Sony, the PlayStation 2 has sold another 5 million copies in the last decade or so since 2012, which is kind of
Was
wild.
that all for that Winnie the Pooh game?
Maybe. Who knows? But
That's crazy.
they have basically sold almost every unit they've produced. They've produced like 160.5 million, I think, and they sold just over 160 million.
Oh, wow.
Which
Wait,
is
so wait, they were doing a run of the PS2 again?
it's just the rest of the ones they produce have been sold, basically. Like
Oh.
almost all of them. Because the important thing about this number is because the PlayStation 2 is the most best-selling console of all time. And this number like puts it further ahead of in the runner-up being the DS, which was closing in. The DS was like 1 or 2 million behind it, I think, right around there. But now it's got another 5 million because the last reported numbers was from like before 2012, I think.
Actually insane. 5 million?
Yeah, that's crazy to me in the last decade or so, since 2012, the end of 2012, I believe.
I don't even know, like, where would those even be sold?
That's what I'm wondering, but
It must, I don't even know. Like, it must be I guess like retro console sales. Like if you go to like some kind of game store that sells retro consoles. But
Well, I mean, from what I'm seeing here, like it looks like a thing, it looks like an artifact at this point where like if you know that something is not being made anymore, and even if it's a console that's like PlayStation 2, which, you know, good console obviously, but it's kind of nothing in today. Like if you know that there's only so many left, you just want to start buying those up for 10, 20 years down the road, because I'm seeing new ones go for like 1,500.
yeah, if they're like brand new.
Yeah.
I could see that.
The other thing is like why like a major reason the PS2 was so popular at the time, and possibly even now I could see a few people still buying, is the fact that it played Blu-ray, right? That was like a huge thing because it was like much cheaper than Blu-ray players at the time.
Oh yeah.
So like people who weren't gaming were buying PS2s just because it was cheaper than getting a DVD or a Blu-ray player.
You know, man, I remember thinking HD DVD was going to be the one that came out on top. Maybe PS2 is why Blu-ray succeeded. Who knows?
Because
Essentially?
from what I understand, that's a contributing factor to why it's the best-selling console of all time. Was
That would make sense.
Yeah, I actually remember that. Like back in the day, the thing that made PlayStation different than Xbox was PlayStation was trying to be like a media center and not just for games. And even on like the PSP, like the fact that you could like watch like movies and stuff on there, or not, movies and like TV shows that they would sell on the PSP.
You just
was
reminded
like
me.
wild.
I watched at least a few movies on them, and all I remember was that they were terrible. Like, just it was a terrible viewing experience on the PSP, and I don't remember why.
I couldn't tell you either. I watched them all the time. I only had 2 movies too.
Okay.
I don't remember what the second one was, but
Fun fact. You know what one of the movies I had on PSP was? Fucking Grandma's Boy.
Grandma's Boy.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the one I had, because I don't remember what it was. I might not have actually watched it.
I watched the movie so many times on PSP.
That's cool. No word on the. I guess PS1s are all sold out then. Yeah.
I would
PlayStation
assume.
I'm curious how much a good PS1 goes for.
I don't know. I have a couple.
Oh, these are not worth
Cool.
shit.
This is not worth shit. Yeah, I think PS.
Well, no, a factory sealed one is worth 9,000.
Damn.
They're always worth a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess if it's
but
factory
the rest
sealed,
of
it makes
these
sense. But
Yeah, they're like graded like Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
I'm
They'll do
I'm
that.
not surprised because when was the PS1 produced?
1990 something.
yeah,
I mean,
it's been a while ago now. Quite a while ago.
It was
1994.
1994. Damn, I'd have put it a few years later.
that was the year I was born. God damn.
I was in Japan too. Whole of the year before it came to the US.
Oh man, back in the day when you could get a demo disc out of a magazine that you could play for months.
Dude, I remember that. I remember that experience. Just you played the hell out of one demo. Just
Yep.
a ton.
Have Spyro, Medieval, like a little bit of everything.
Medieval, yeah.
Yeah.
That was my first Armored Core experience. Me and my boy just killing each other, not knowing what's going on for like days on one map with no terrain. It was just like a green field, and you couldn't even do that much with your mechs. It was great.
Made it all the better. Yeah, because I think the PS3 has 6 million units to go through. I think it sold like 82 million and 88 million, or it sold 82 million and 88 million were produced, from what I remember reading. Oh, it definitely
some guy just has all the rest of them just laying somewhere.
That's what I'm saying. There's somebody out there who's just like, I know these will be worth something someday. I mean, if people are willing to spend, how much money do they drop on like new PS4s and PS5s when they were scalping them? Somebody's doing it with the older stuff too. I guarantee it.
Thankfully, no one wanted the PS5 Pro. So scalpers got fucked on that one.
Good. Eat dicks, scalpers. What else you got?
Flipping to the other side of the court, Nintendo is filing court documents to target the 200,000 member piracy subreddit.
Yeah, I was gonna say I had that follow up too.
Because from what I understand, they're specifically targeting the guy that we talked about. I may have been last week, maybe a few weeks ago, but the guy that they asked basically is who was supposed to show up in court didn't show up in court, and they're like, it just disappeared. So they're using this to try and find get information on like who he's messaging, who he's communicating in the subreddit, because they want to track down the people behind the hardware modification, like that underground shop that he was basically running, and they're trying to target that. So they have submitted court documents trying to request information from the 200,000 member piracy subreddit.
They're trying to get more people.
Yeah, can't catch you, so we're going after your community, mother.
Well, they're also trying to get like the DMs that he had with people in that subreddit, assuming they're trying to track down like who else is connected to it, what are the websites he ran, just so they can try to find this guy because he never showed up for his court battle.
Dude, Nintendo's sending out their lawyers. They're ninjas.
The ninja lawyers.
They're tracking them down.
Dude,
oh no.
Imagine you trash talk one of the biggest gaming companies, and then now you're on the run because they're like, okay, bet.
I'm curious to see how that goes, because I would feel that sets like a hugely dangerous precedent for like Reddit if a company can sue and just suddenly everybody in a subreddit is now a defendant, you know?
I mean, like
that seems crazy.
Well, in this case, they're all people who are like assumedly targeting and pirating their property, right?
Well,
but
it's just the subreddit. It's not illegal to talk about piracy. The illegal thing is like, here's where you can go download stuff that we host illegally. Because
but like Reddit has to fight back, because you can't say like, oh, nobody's going to want to use a site where you can get sued at any moment for something you said in a friggin' anonymous platform. You know, that's why Apple won't unlock phones and stuff, because it will damage their reputation. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember,
I feel like
because there was something along the lines of this I'm trying to remember about Reddit. I forgot what it was, though. They had a situation like along this lines before where the outcome was just, we fucking closed the Reddit.
Yeah, I mean, shutting down a subreddit, that happens all the time, but like actually bringing the members to court, I don't know. I don't think
because I believe for the one I'm thinking of, the judge just dropped it because it was quote unquote, I believe it was unconstitutional was the reasoning. Yeah. And then they shut down their Reddit, which is basically why I would assume would happen to this one in worst case scenario. Specifically, by the way, this is the Switch Pirates subreddit.
Not the other pirates.
not the main piracy subreddit.
They could have picked a way better name.
Dude, no, the next one will just be like, next one will just be like, definitely not Switch Pirates subreddit. r/definitely not Switch Pirates.
Dude, they're just thinking like, though, imagine you join a community like that, and then the guy that runs it is so stupid that not only trash talks Nintendo, but then has all of his personal stuff linked to the account he's trash talking from. And then you have
he doesn't care.
You have to possibly.
I mean, he cares a bit. He disappeared.
Yeah, he ran away.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't care. He says, "I'll just disappear into the ether. Don't worry about it."
I mean, that's carried on a certain level because you don't want to. He clearly doesn't want to fight Nintendo's lawyers.
They have his name.
Yeah, they have his name. He literally had his personal stuff connected to it. Even to like
went off the grid.
Repair request account. Like
he's gonna pop up somewhere else with a mustache on.
He's got a freaking hoodie and some glasses and a mustache. Out in the middle of the woods drinking milk cartons.
Caroling through the woods, one might say.
It's just in my opinion, it's such a comedically it's the prime example, talk shit, get hit. Like,
well, he didn't get hit, he left. He said, I can't catch me. Float like a butterfly.
It's almost to the fact that you got this guy being like, "Ha, I'm untouchable," and then they go after him, and he's like, "I'm running away."
It's like,
and he's still untouchable.
Sucker punch Nintendo. He sucker punched Nintendo. By the time they turned around, he's gone.
Yep. He's already in Thailand. Don't worry about it.
They'll get him. It's Nintendo. You can't run.
This is going to be a great movie.
It's Nintendo. Dun, 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 dun. You're gonna send Terminators back in time to sue you.
We're gonna have switch colored Terminators.
Oh, yep. Their arms come off, and you can hand each one to a friend, so everybody can play.
Everybody has a gun.
All right, what else you got?
So, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero apparently had an official.
Oh my god!
An official tournament recently. Because I believe it was a bunch of different countries were basically doing their qualifiers for who's going to compete for the main tournament. It's an official sponsored tournament by Bandai Namco. But in the France's finals, it ended in complete disaster, where
Oh no!
the entire tournament was for the finals was a character. One of the players using a specific character would achieve a life lead and then spend the entire rest of the game running away. And due to the specific characteristics of this character, the opponent could not touch him. This proceeded to go on for 10 full minutes. And this was the second game that this happened, because in the first game, both players were using this strategy, basically, with very similar characters.
What character was it?
It's Android 19 and Android 20, Tujiro.
Huh.
It's because of the fact that Android characters can't charge ki, but they don't use ki while dashing. So all they were doing was flying up and down for 10 minutes. And during the broadcast,
timer.
yeah, and they would just get a life lead and run away. After the first game, they got told, switch characters, do this again, you're disqualified. The Dr. Gero player swapped his characters. The Android 19 player did the exact same thing. And this is where the tweet came from that I showed you guys. But
No.
the thing was, his opponent in the second round was actually just trying to fight him and just couldn't for 10 full minutes. And they cut the gameplay. It just started showing the commentators till the match was over. But both of these players would end up being disqualified 2 or 3 days later. And the third place runner-up would be the one who qualifies for the main tournament. But supposedly this was to showcase how bad the balancing is for this game and how there's some issues that people want to be sorted out. Because apparently things like this happen in ranked all the time.
This is a game I can't. Like, okay, I had the same guy I was talking to at Thanksgiving. We were talking. He's like, yeah, I seen that Sparking Zero. That looks pretty good, right? And he's like, what do you know about that? I was like, I know that it's not a game made to be taken seriously, because every time I played it, like I was telling Strider, like I consider Smash more of a fighting game than Sparking Zero, because Sparking Zero is fun, and it's, if you love Dragon Ball and you like that Tenkaichi stuff, it's cool. Like the game is cool. Don't get me wrong. But to have like a ranked system in there and to take it seriously is kind of bonkers. Like that is a goofy ass, like clunky game. And that the whole tournament I didn't find out about the tournament afterwards. And I was like, okay, point proven. Good. I now feel better, because man,
I was right.
It is not really a fighting game. Yeah, I was right. And I knew that from the moment we played it. Like you can take one look at that game and go, nah, this isn't like real. This isn't like
Real fake games.
Frame Data, Guilty Gear, or Street Fighter or something. You're not worried about that. You're just pressing buttons. And I know there's more to it than that, obviously, but one of the first things we talked about was that Mr. Satan clip of him just ulting over and over again, the guy unable to do anything for the entire round except take it.
And I love how it does no damage either.
Yeah.
It doesn't even end the game. It just takes forever.
Yep. Just like this tournament, it's timer scams. That's all the game is.
10 minutes.
I can be the ultimate God Key Super Saiyan 20 Gogeta versus a guy who just runs away all the time or heals with sensu beans every 2 seconds. It doesn't matter.
Hey man, you gave it a go with Yajirobe.
Hey, we had fun until Jacob kicked my ass. That was good for that.
They had to nerf Yajirobe. He was too broken.
Yep, too many sensu beans. He's getting too fat.
I just remember us playing Blizz and you trying to charge each other with attacks and then kept missing. Yeah.
Neither of us did the tutorial. I just did the Donka Ray. What is it?
Dodonra.
Dodon Ray over and over
Dodonka.
again. And the little guy, Dodonka Ray.
You and your fucking Chatsu, dude.
Chatsu, gangster.
He don't move when he flies.
Yeah, I don't see. That also makes me feel like maybe are fighting game tournaments just always scuffed? Like,
Well, to use Melee as an example, because very long history, is Melee has a bunch of rules of what you're not allowed to do because of situations like this. This happens a lot in competitive fighting games.
Yeah.
oh really?
From what
And
I
older
understand.
ones, I assume, the ones that don't get patches anymore.
Yep. Is basically like your game isn't getting updates, but like you want a competitive scene that is healthy in the simplest sense. So you want to make sure strategies like this are cut out. Or to use Yu-Gi-Oh as an example, the guy who showed up with a fucking 2,000 card deck.
No, that guy was a legend.
What about the guy that
You
showed
be
up with the
nice to that
giant
man.
cards?
I mean, the guy with the 2,000 card deck like lost almost, well, not immediately, but on his first turn. It just took forever because he couldn't shuffle his deck.
He timer scammed himself.
Basically.
That was a real thing too, right? There was a guy that showed up with giant cards. They were legit,
I
so
think
they
that
let
was
him do it.
Pokemon.
I remember something like that. I don't
might have
remember
been
any
Pokemon.
specifics about it though, but I definitely remember hearing something like that.
I don't think it'd be any benefit to you to have them. I think it's just a detriment.
With giant cards.
Yeah, for Pokemon.
I think it's just funny.
The only thing I can think of is like if they're custom made, then you might be able to include some way for you to tell what they are on the back without anybody else knowing. But
Yeah.
that's probably not what he did. I think it was just for the fun of it. He made giant cards because there was no rule against it. Just like there's no rule for like what your hitbox look or what your fight stick is supposed to look like. So people come in with the dumbest shit. It's still a functional fight stick.
I like seeing really
Yes,
scuffed ones.
It's just like for actually using fight sticks here is like there's rules on like what like if you hold multiple buttons down, what the like default action's gonna be. There's like rules for what has to happen there.
Yeah, the mechanics and even like what's allowed. Like I think the hitbox I think wasn't allowed when it first came out. The one that's all buttons, no joystick. I think that wasn't allowed when it first came out.
It's
What is
also
that?
I think the one I saw recently was it was Street Fighter. I don't know, but there's like limits. Like you can only have like 11 buttons.
yeah.
You can't just have like a button modded for each special move. Doesn't
This
work
one
like
gives me a
that.
Coca-Cola.
This one does my taxes.
This one rage quits.
Every
always
controller
pressed.
has that one.
This one plays LTG quotes when I lose.
Oh no.
It's just the core Yuki mod.
They all play LFG quotes.
It just makes me think of like one of my favorite tournament rules was Grand Blue Fantasies Risings tournament rule. There was a specific rule in the rule set that you could not use Vegeta's frying pan weapon skin because of the sound it made. Because it was easy.
It actually did something. It was easier to tell what your combo was going to be or something like that.
Yeah, it was
what
easier
kind
to
of
hit
issue you had.
confirm off the audio was why I believe the reason, which is just kind of the funny thing that has to be considered in a fighting game tournament like setting. But to move on to our next piece, apparently Stalker 2 just is straight up freezing on consoles, specifically Xbox.
Oh, that's
Like-
not good.
Like it is
Yeah.
just 0 FPS and the game has stopped. Which
one? Do we know?
Xbox I think it's even happening on the X. Or is X the big one?
Ooh.
Because the S is the small one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's happening on the X. Like it's just Stalker 2 was in a rough spot. It's gotten a few patches already. Like their first patch fixed 600 something things.
They're working on it.
But game was probably not ready for release.
They get a pass. Half of it was developed in a literal war zone.
Well, yeah, it shows.
I'll give them a pass. That is unfortunate though, because apparently it's a really good game. Did they ever fix the
Working on it.
that one system?
It's
like,
not
I
fixed yet. It's not fixed
Yeah,
yet.
they're working on
No.
it. There are mods you can like install that are like forced, like basically brute force fixes from what I could tell that
Oh, they
modders
mimic
have
it?
done.
Yeah.
But the main one of the best ones, it like tanks your frame rate if your computer is not like high end.
I mean,
Because
if you're that's just the game. If your computer isn't high end,
Yeah, but even more so. Like the modder in the modders page, he says, "Hey, warning, this will kill your frame rate unless you have like a NASA computer."
it's probably like re-enabling like the unfinished parts of it.
Well, part of it is it's enabling, like it's taking also the distance things happen and increasing it like tenfold. That's a lot of background stuff for your PC to process when you're not even near
your
it.
CPU is screaming, "Please send help."
It's like, oh my god, I can't even imagine.
And to move on to our next thing, so No Man's Sky. Guess what? It has just managed to do. Like I think of a few days ago.
How the fuck are we still talking about this?
The
game?
last thing I saw was fishing, so what could they have possibly done now?
Didn't they finally become very positive on Steam?
8 years.
Yeah.
8 years. They've gone from overwhelmingly negative to very positive, which I think is the biggest change a game has ever had on Steam in terms of sizable releases that aren't like 12 people reviewing.
Do you think Overwatch 2 will ever see that kind of redemption arc?
No. It's not going to be around for 8 years.
All right, dude. You know what? Rhetoric question. I just want to see the reaction.
Let's see if it lasts 8 years first. Yeah, because
No Man's Sky, like, honestly, props to the developer. Like, I can't even imagine just still working on that project after what happened when it came out, because the amount of just disappointment in that game was so, like, it had never been seen before. Ever. We've never had a game so hyped up at that time when No Man's Sky came out, because the lead developer was just basically lying to like all these in all these interviews.
Dude, I love how I think it was Game Awards, right, where he went up again talking about the new thing, and everyone's like, "No, cut his mic, like stop him, he's doing it again."
Yeah, basically, because he really was. Like he would just straight up lie about things that were going to be in the game. Like he was saying that the entire universe was going to be something that the players shared and that you could run to other people, but it's so massive that the odds of you doing it are like slim to none, but it is possible. And no, that's not how the game works at all.
Yeah.
Like it's not even close. And they went from like that much negative feedback to very positive on Steam just because they literally put in the work. Like the amount of updates and content they've brought to the game have all been received well, like every single time consistently. And they weren't like talking on Twitter or like doing any of this stuff. They just sat down, got to work and started releasing shit.
Yeah, so what did they add?
They've just had a lot over the years. There's a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah, I couldn't even go over it all. There's so much.
I mean like the most recent thing, like the reason you brought
that's
up
what I was saying is that it finally managed to get very positive.
Oh, okay.
Because I've never seen a game go from overwhelmingly negative to very positive like this. Because for each review, it just gets that much harder to get the next percent point. Because it took them 2 years to go from overwhelmingly negative to mixed, 3 more years to get from mixed to mostly positive. And that, because I think mostly positive is 70%, right?
I think so.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, to get from 70% to 80%, so mostly positive to very positive, took 3 years of them still doing this. Also, to double back a bit for the lies thing, there was a website when the game came out just dedicated to everything the dev promised. Was it in there? What was promised? Was it in there? And then and then it was a link to where he said this, and it was just like hundreds of things.
Yeah.
And it was like lies, true, lies, true, somewhat true, lies. It was crazy.
Yeah, they weren't small things either. Like he was promising never heard of. Like people couldn't fathom how you would even do it. Like no one even knew. And he was like promising it. Yeah, because they couldn't do it. It was impossible. And there's no way.
I just can't believe like even stuff like multiplayer, which was like the big reason people found out like right away.
Yeah.
was like that was what opened Pandora's box of everything that was lied.
Wasn't there like a thing where they said it was multiplayer, but you couldn't, the world is so big, you'll never actually see each other. And two people actually went and found like the exact same spot on the exact same planet. We're like, nobody's fucking here. What happened? There should be another guy here. We're both posting screenshots of the exact same part.
Yep. That was what kicked everything off, was that right there.
Dang.
I mean, something else would have clearly kicked it off, but that was like launch day, because I think it was like
we wouldn't find out.
Like, what did he think was going to happen? They'll never find out. They've already found out, sir. Oh,
well, that's kind of like what I was thinking. Was like, was he really just lying on purpose, or was most of? I think because eventually, yes, but I think initially, he had much grander plans than were possible for his small team.
I mean, like some of those lies were like
just
like few weeks leading up, from what I remember, like a few weeks before.
Yeah, at that point, it's like whatever, just fucking say the game pays your taxes for you. At this point, who cares?
I think it's more of an issue where like the interviewers would ask him like, "Could you do this?" and he would just say yes every time. Like there would never be a no, you can't quite do that. That never happened. He would always say like, of course you can do that in this game. I don't know why.
Imagine working on the game and being a dev or investing in it and just watching these interviews and just
like, no,
stop him.
That's just
we're not getting to Christmas this year.
like when they had him on the stage talking about their newer game coming out, and they're just like, oh, he's doing it again. Like, get him the fuck off the stage.
They've done that a few times, I think. I think he's even said like when he announced No Man's Land, right?
Light no flame,
light no fire. That's what I
light no fire. Okay.
And that is like, you can't keep me up here talking, otherwise you know what's going to happen.
I think he just has like some kind of weird psychological issue with that. Just like if someone says this is possible, he just says yes.
Yeah, he's doing it on purpose, but I don't think it's malicious. He just can't help himself.
Yeah, pretty much. He wants to. He doesn't want to disappoint by saying no. It's not possible.
He is over-promising and under-delivering, but he's trying.
No, props to them. Congrats, honestly. That's actually like really hype.
Yeah,
I'm surprised they didn't call that other game No Man's Land. Now that you're saying it, I'm like, that's perfect.
That's
the sequel to No Man's Sky.
I was like, no, because I was like, it's. Yeah, I don't know why I thought it was No Man's Land, but it sounded right to me.
Because it should be No Man's Land.
There might be already a trademark or something for that.
Yeah,
I would not be surprised. And for my last bit of news here, Mortal Kombat 1 has canceled its next DLC wave.
Oh shit!
No.
We were just talking last week about companies having to put their battle pass and DLC stuff solidly out, not just maybe this is happening by money.
Do you think that has anything to do with it?
No.
Oh, yeah.
This is just, this game has failed from the start. Like, this game is dead in the water on arrival.
And they
just added Ghostface.
I was gonna say they just added Ghostface.
Like, why? What kind of fucking character is that to put in a Mortal Kombat game? I can kind of see the Terminator and the Predator, all the other stuff, but Ghostface?
Well, here's the thing. Those characters at least have like some kind of super ability. Like, you know, Terminator's a robot, Predator's an alien. Ghostface ain't supernatural. He's just a dude with a knife.
He's just a dude or two dudes in a mask.
With a knife.
Like, yeah, what a weird license. And it cost them money, too. No thanks.
No thanks indeed.
No thank you. I'll stick with my Cyberpunk DLC for Guilty Gear. Thank you very much.
Hell yeah.
It's funny because I find that's a cool poll. Like an interesting one. I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to do with that.
I mean, from what we've seen, they chose weird characters to start off with, but you know, whatever.
I mean, sort of.
Well, like, okay, the main character they showed off isn't even like a physical combatant in the show. You know, she's like a spy lady.
No, she definitely murders a few people. But
like the other people?
Yeah, no, she uses the wires to like literally decapitate a few people in the show.
Fine, I'll secede.
I mean, also spoilers for Edgerunners. She's the only character still fucking alive, which is a big thing for Guilty Gear.
That's a good point. Yeah,
Guilty Gear does not like using characters that are dead.
Really?
Well, what's Slayer then?
Not
A
dead.
vampire.
He's
What's
a
Soul's
vampire.
wife?
Technically still alive.
Well, he's a nightless, which is different than a traditional vampire. I'm not.
That's stupid.
But like
You're
Cliff
just
who
mad.
died, Justice who died, like those characters are dead and gone. I say this, and then there's also probably people are speculating that the third character is in some way related to Justice.
Wasn't Jacko's
Prime.
original form Justice, though, in a sense? Or did I mix that up? Lore wise.
So all of the Valentines are clones of Soul's wife, whose Soul's wife ends up turning into Justice, which kicks off a good chunk of the Guilty Gear lore.
Oh, so he's fucking a clone.
I love that that's how interesting Mortal Kombat is, that we talked about it for 2 seconds and how bad it is, and then we went immediately to Guilty Gear.
Hey, you pivoted us here.
Mortal
I
Kombat's
did,
boring
because-
now, man.
You know what's funny though is I was actually looking into it, and apparently Mortal Kombat is like the biggest fighting game, and it has been for a long, long time. Like Street Fighter is happy that it sold like 6 or 8 million copies or whatever, while Mortal Kombat usually sells like tens to hundreds of millions. Of copies.
I'm not surprised. I mean, it is more like one of the most
Hundreds of
well-known
millions
fighting series.
Well, I
planet,
think
but-
100 million was the number I saw.
of like the entire franchise's sales.
No, of one of the older ones. But the idea was basically that like most other fighting games aren't even in the same ballpark. You'd think Street Fighter would be, but it's not. It's like Mortal
Are
Kombat
you
is
by
basically the
copies or
fighting
by
game.
profit?
Copies.
That seems like a very crazy number.
It was. That's what I thought too. That franchise
It's-
is way bigger than you'd think it is.
Okay, it's 15 million for 11, I believe.
Damn.
Is what
For
I'm getting.
11. Okay. And then what is, well, I mean, we don't have, we'll figure it out
What is
later, but I know
one?
Street Fighter's like a quarter of that at best, whatever Street Fighter was out at the same time. Basically, the idea is that Mortal Kombat is the fighting game for casuals.
I think
Like
it has a
everybody-
stronger brand. I think
Um,
that's-
It absolutely does.
yeah, because it like Street Fighter is like, okay, it's Street Fighter, but it doesn't have that Mortal Kombat where the guy screams Mortal Kombat and then you hear the dun 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 that thing happening. Yeah,
Yeah.
Street Fighter doesn't have that.
And the Street Fighter movies are nowhere near as good as the Mortal Kombat movie.
True, yeah, stronger branding.
I just always think it's funny because like I would watch like a Mortal Kombat tournament, or at least a couple clips of it, and they just skip the like main draw, which I mean, to me, the main draw when I was a kid was, oh, there's blood, oh, there's fatalities. How do we do those? How do we do that?
Yeah. The gore.
Okay.
Then you watch a tournament and they just skip it. Like that's not like nobody wants to see them anymore.
Okay, so I looked it up. It's roughly 80 million copies were sold of Mortal Kombat franchise to Street Fighter's 55 million. But Street Fighter
Ooh,
2's
okay.
best selling is 15.5 million, with Street Fighter 2 compared to Mortal Kombat 11's 15 million. Was just quick checking.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, it's not as extreme as I originally thought, but still, Mortal Kombat is bigger than every other fighting game franchise.
Yeah, no, when you said 100 million, I was like, there's no fucking way it sold 4 times as many copies as Elden Ring. I was like, I did not hear enough about this game then.
Well, this is what happens when you get your news from a YouTube channel. All right. Sometimes the shit doesn't make sense. Keep that in mind.
Ooh.
I didn't do my research. I saw something that was such an astronomical difference that I was like, even if it's partly true, it still checks out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you couldn't just make that claim and have it be the
Yeah,
opposite.
we just went over a critical line.
No. Like you couldn't make that claim and then it actually turns out that Street Fighter sells much more. That would be crazy. But if the numbers are closer together, you're still in the clear. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Just
It's not
exaggerated.
logic.
Yeah.
It's just exaggerated, which I expected. But still, the main point is that Mortal Kombat is like baller compared to what I thought it was. I like, if you play fighting games, I don't know too many people who actually give a shit about Mortal Kombat. Maybe was 11 the last one that was good?
I'm assuming.
See, we don't know.
I mean, I haven't played a Mortal Kombat game, but like was said earlier,
Whatever the last
I would
one
say
was.
that Mortal Kombat has a stronger brand recognition for Street Fighter for most of gaming history up until recently. I feel like Street Fighter has overtaken it at this point. Is now probably the most like popular, like easily recognizable. Like if you ask someone to name a fighting game, you would probably hear Street Fighter before anything other than maybe Smash. then Smash.
I wonder how much of that is due to like the general acceptance of anime into American culture at this point. Is like that was the big thing with Mortal Kombat is it didn't look. I mean, Street Fighter always looked like Street Fighter, like anime little characters jumping around, but Mortal Kombat was like, oh, it's photorealistic, and you know, it's not a kid's game. This is brutal, and yada yada yada. Too bad it always felt like garbage to play. It did, man. I hated that game. It always felt so clunky, and it looked goofy. I was a detractor from day one.
Yeah, no.
Anyway, I guess that's too bad.
Early fighting games are very, very rough.
I mean, Street Fighter 2.
That's what I'm saying. Street Fighter 2 is the one that changes everything around.
Okay, yeah. Street Fighter 2 is the first time I played I like literally we would pop Street Fighter out and put Mortal Kombat in, vice versa. I think it was MK2. I don't know. Whichever ones were at the same time. And I just, man, one of them felt and looked so much better to me. And it wasn't Mortal Kombat.
I still think it's fucking wild that like one of the big fundamentals of fighting games was basically a bug originally.
The combo?
Yep, the combos. And then
yeah, I just watched there's a video on YouTube that just goes over fighting games for like an hour.
The genres of fighting games.
Is that what it is?
Is it,
and it's just a guy who's kind of just going through the history of like why this means that.
Yeah, like the genres, like it starts by breaking down like the very early ones, then like the Street Fighter types, then because it's like traditional and hybrid and stuff like that. Is that the one you're thinking of?
I think so. Yeah, it's about an hour long.
Yep.
Yeah,
because
it's good.
It's a very good video. That guy puts out good fighting game content. I can't think of his name.
Oh. It was like, man, now I want to find it.
It's like A-Core or something like that, right? A-Core Gaming.
I think it is A-Core Gaming. Yeah. Because the way he just goes from one topic into the next and it just flows. So it's like such a well done YouTube video. Definitely worth a watch if you give any kind of shit about fighting games.
Yep. That is the end of my news. Would either of you two like to take it from here?
Oh, I got some stuff. I got some interesting stuff.
Boy, it better be interesting.
All right. So this first one, this is actually pretty crazy. I never thought to use AI in this way, but Sony's ahead of the game. Because with all this news of like Roblox and all the weird shenanigans they got going over there with kids, right? Sony is, according to an article from Clawsome Gamer, is apparently going to be using AI technology to run pseudo accounts on their games to mimic minor demographics to try to catch online predators.
Wow.
Oh shit.
Yeah, they're going to be basically creating AI like accounts and have
AI
them
Chris
try
Hansen's.
to fish for predators. Yeah, AI Chris Hansen's and basically try to just protect like the younger audience for their users, which
Good.
is. Yeah, I've never even like thought of that was something that you could do.
You're getting into RoboCop. Another few steps, man. RoboCop. The AI policeman. First they're online, now they'll go in the real world.
Next thing you know, you've been murdered by the claymation robot.
Oh no.
Hey man, that's only because you can't get fired. If you still work for the company, you're good.
Yeah, I have no idea when they plan to implement this or even how, because I don't know like how they're going to work this out with the games that they're going to be doing, or if this is just going to be like a PlayStation chat. No, there's no details on that yet, but something that they're looking into, trying to accomplish, which is always nice, especially with how we're learning Roblox and all these other online communities are, especially because we're just talking about Fortnite too, how that's just like at this point, like a community of people more than a game itself. It's kind of crazy.
It's kind of like, yeah, there's now, I mean, it wouldn't have been financially feasible to do this before.
Yeah.
You know, like you couldn't hire a bunch of people pretending to be kids to go find child predators. So I guess in a way AI is taking a job, but the job wouldn't have worked in the first place. So, all right, fine. You know what? AI is being used for a positive. I mean, I guess it's not positive, but it's being used in a beneficial way. And I can get behind that. So,
Oh, yeah.
Good for Sony.
Yeah, so hopefully something good comes out of that. And something not so good, though, we've apparently learned that hackers have been using Godot, the game engine, to create malware. So this is kind of wild. Apparently, it is possible for you to create malware and put it in certain files inside of a video game in the game engine. And when you run it, it goes undetected because it's packaged inside of the game. And it could start basically from what I've seen, it focuses on trying to get different credentials and including even taking like information from like crypto miners. It can even get that too if you have it on your computer. And this apparently has been going on since possibly 2022. So for a couple of years now.
So I guess you could look up which games use Godot and maybe have an idea of. So basically you could be at risk and not know it still.
It's possible because the way they've been doing this is how they've been spreading this malware, right? Is they've been putting it inside of like GitHub repositories online and then basically just like upvoting them on the website to get them set on trending. So other developers will use the resources in those repositories in their games.
Oh,
yeah, it's kind of scary. It's a little bit scary, especially because Godot is becoming a very popular engine.
Yeah, I was just looking at, they use Brotato, Cruelty Squad, Buckshot Roulette. These are Godot games.
Yeah, so this is pretty crazy. Recently, the Godot engine maintainer and security team member has actually made a statement, basically saying that this is like a real vulnerability, but it's not specific to Godot either. Essentially, this can happen to any game engine, and any programming language too, like Python, Ruby runtimes as well, can exploit this and use it. The only caveat to how this works is it is not possible for it to be, quote, a one-click exploit. Essentially, you have to run the game itself and execute the runtime in order for those vulnerabilities to exist. You can't just accidentally download it and then you're just fucked. That's not really how it works. But still, like, we don't really know for sure how far this has gone. And we're only just now finding out about this after it's been potentially going on for 2 years now. So, yeah, kind of scary. Hopefully we get some more news about how this gets patched and, hopefully some more idea of like what's been affected by this, but some kind of scary news.
They mentioned how they figured that out, or like,
I believe it was found by, let me look.
then getting over it. Godot backpack battles. Sonic Colors Ultimate. Strider might have that one.
Oh yeah, they discover it because they found it in one of the repositories on GitHub, and that's kind of how they it went through from there. And from there, they've also done like more proof of concept code with the malware, showing that it also works on Linux and Mac. So if you're on Linux and Mac, you are not safe from it either. It's not just Windows systems that this affects.
Dang. All right. Another thing to keep my eye out for. Jeez.
Yeah.
I just want to play games, man. Everybody wants to take my money and my identity and my time. Holy shit.
Speaking of taking money.
Oh, God.
This is a follow-up, actually, from something we talked about a long time ago. This is an antitrust lawsuit against Valve and Steam, where there was a claim against their 30% commission that Steam has against like your game sales, right? Where they said it was too high of a cut, and they're basically like using it to dominate the landscape, essentially. Which our opinions was basically like, there's no way.
Yeah.
That has been refiled because originally it was dismissed a long time ago, but they've actually upgraded this, if you want to use that word, to an entire antitrust lawsuit, or from an antitrust lawsuit to a class action lawsuit now. So this is potentially becoming a much, much bigger lawsuit than before. And potentially like anyone that has paid like any type of commission to Steam could be joining in on this lawsuit against them. Yeah, so we'll see.
Think they have a chance?
I don't know, because the reason why the 30% commission with Steam is kind of like whack is because pretty much any other developer that also like allows you to sell your games on their store also has this 30% commission. Like they are not unique or like higher than everyone else. If you look at Epic's commission, they'll say that it's much lower. I think it's in the teens. I forget the exact number. But the reason it's so low is because you do not get a bunch of the benefits that you would get that Steam gives you, such as like a worldwide launch, and also just like a lot of the behind the scenes ways that they help you handle like the sales and all that fun jazz. You can do it on Epic, but as soon as you ask for their help to do those things, now your commission's at 30% to match Steam. So yeah, that's kind of how that works. So I don't think they'll win it. From what I can tell, the reason why this is expanded is because a similar case against Valve has now been like smashed together with this one. They've been conjoined, and that's why they're basically updating it to a class action status to reflect that. But still, the fact that it's been going on for like a few years now and hasn't been settled, it's not looking. It might look a little downtrodden for Valve right now. Who knows?
So is this the one from the Overgrowth devs?
Yeah. Yep.
So there's a few interesting things I want to point out that they put in there.
Sure.
And then the plaintiffs assert that, I'm reading this verbatim, that Valve's platform's most favored nations policy has the following anti-competitive impacts. 1, Steam earns a super competitive commission. 2, game companies cannot compete between distribution platforms. And 3, rival platforms cannot succeed. Like, I don't know about any of those.
No,
because like Steam's commission is the industry standard, right? And it even drops after $1 million, right?
I believe so. I could be wrong.
I think. And then like you can compete. You can put your thing on other stores too, right? Like as long as as long as like the price isn't lower than Steam's, right? Is the rule?
Yeah, you're allowed to sell Steam keys on other platforms so long as the price you're selling it on the other platform is not lower than what you're selling it on Steam. You can sell them both at the same time, but they have to be the same price.
Yep, and then rival platforms cannot succeed. It's not Steam's fault. Every other store platform keeps shooting itself in the foot.
Basically.
It's not Gabe's fault. He makes all the right decisions every time.
I remember that one.
And if anything, too, what's kind of crazy from what I've heard from indie devs, another big problem with it is like the publishers, like their cut is what also takes a huge chunk out of their commission. Because generally the commission, you don't have to pay for it until you made a certain amount of money anyways. But the publisher doesn't really care most of the time. So once you'll lose like easily at least half of whatever sales you make, no matter what.
That's crazy.
This is also fucking crazy coming from the fucking Overgrowth devs. Like, I don't know.
And then on top of that, when you take into consideration the engine too, like what they're going to take from you if you make so many sales, there's another blow.
Pennies on the dollar.
Yep. Not great.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Overgrowth devs, but
I know the game, but like not what's happened with their
Overgrowth
devs?
has been in quote unquote early access, like in development for over a decade, and like the game has barely changed. Like
I've never even heard of it.
Like I think he's made like 10 million or so, I think was what I remember reading off this.
Why do we keep letting people do this?
And like that guy, that dev has gotten in a lot of like heat for basically like just the game isn't changing. Like it's not being developed actively in terms of like progressing towards a final version.
What do you think he's gonna tell the judge when the judge realizes he's selling his game on Steam?
That's like you seen Steve
Using their platform and suing the platform.
Yeah, so there's that. We'll hopefully have more. I think it's just gonna get dismissed again. I don't think it's going anywhere, to be honest. It's kind of crazy that it's still going on, but I don't think it's gonna go anywhere really quick. Beyond that, though, things are going to be changing Christmas time in Vietnam.
Oh.
This is kind of interesting. So Vietnam has like these internet regulations that they have through the country, right?
Do they?
They do, yeah. They're actually updating them this year again because
What
their
kind of
latest one
restrictions?
kind of it has more to do with like what outside or foreign corporations can do in regards to information sharing. And I don't know the exact details, but I know the last one they went through has caused like the online casino market and gambling market to be like on a steady rise throughout the country. And this next kind of regulation that they're doing on Christmas Day apparently is going to be mitigating that. And it's kind of wild, like what they're doing. They are essentially prohibiting casino-like games as well as those that use cards and card-based imagery. Just straight up.
From just Vietnam? No,
Yep.
no cards?
Nope. Gone.
No
Oh,
card. Wait, so
fucking-
like, does that include like?
No Yu-Gi-Oh!
I was gonna say, does that include like TCGs?
Yeah. And I think this is more a victim of just like really vague wording, I'm hoping. Because that's a lot. Like, you can't do nothing. It's a lot of games.
No card games. Get out.
Dude, Monopoly's gone. Balatro, gone. Can't do anything.
Would this also
In
mean
addition, oh, go ahead.
would this also mean Back for Blood would technically be banned? There's cards in there.
Yeah, Back for Blood, gone.
Wait, does that
Get it
also
outta here.
extend to games with just cards in them?
Yes,
What the
card-based imagery.
fuck?
Just-
That's stupid.
Wait, does this mean League of Legends is banned because of Twisted Fate?
Yeah, you might just be gone.
The Vietnamese edition where he's just gone.
Dude, they might do what, like, I don't know, they could do something like that. I mean, hell, World of Warcraft originally used to be if you played in China, all the like, you know, the undead guys, the Forsaken, they would have full clothing, like, because in North America they had like bones showing and stuff because they're fucking undead, but you weren't allowed to show that kind of imagery in China and stuff.
Oh my god, this is makes me think of fucking Ubisoft's in Rainbow Six Siege where they got a lot of flame for this and they ended up backpedaling on it, but they were going to update one of the maps. There was like a biker bar type situation. Because there was like skull and bones around the place, and they were going to update it and change it to comply with China.
Yeah,
and the whole
they
no
don't like
bones thing.
bone imagery. They don't like any kind of imagery on like exposed bones
Skulls,
or anything.
yeah, skulls. Like
Yeah.
even like a pirate skull and bones isn't
Yeah.
allowed. So and people were like, no, just make a fucking another version of the game for China then, and which is what they ended up doing. But people were pissed because it's like it's such a nothing change, but why? And then I think the map ended up. This was, I think, post of its rework, too.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, in addition to that, this is where it gets kind of wild, too, is not only that, but any foreign companies operating games in Vietnam are also required to have like some kind of domestic operation. So they need like some kind of like
Like
office in the
branch?
country. Yeah, like there has to be one there in order to operate any types of video games there.
They need video game embassies.
Does
Yeah, you better have a video game embassy set up, ready to go.
Where's your
Do it.
embassy for fucking Overwatch?
Overwatch embassy.
do other countries have this type of requirement?
It's possible. China might. Actually, I doubt that. No, because they just go through Tencent.
China doesn't even allow like violent games like
Yeah.
Resident Evil and shit.
Yeah.
Or social media or gambling. Or
nothing.
Peppa Pig.
Or Peppa Pig.
Or Winnie the Pooh. China says no to
Sometimes
Wait,
it just feels like a
wait.
dartboard. Just what's not allowed next.
Whatever their government doesn't allow.
Yeah, so pretty
Yeah.
tight restrictions, but they get even tighter because now also you have to have a type of player verification for any video games through your phone number in the country.
Ugh.
And it requires a guardian authorization if you're under 16. And if you are under 18, you're limited to one game session up to an hour at a daily maximum of 3 hours.
That's crazy. And then Australia just banned under 16s. So like, dang, we're regressing. Did we push too far and everybody's like, nope, video games really are bad. Are we really doing that argument again? Or, like,
the argument that's
instead
been
of
disproven
parents-
so many times.
Yeah, instead of parents handling their kids, they're like, blame the games, blame the music, blame everything that's not the parents being
Yeah, the
lazy.
age old my kid was playing GTA and it was all horrible, and it's like, well, how to get the game?
Well, here's what we need to do. We really figure this out.
Oh no.
To remove a completely unethical case study is have is someone grow up and their only communication with anyone else in the outside world is League of Legends random chat.
No,
No,
you're
that's-
trying to create Hitler 2.0.
That's
We're not
that's
doing
also
that.
that's not the video game itself. That's still a community they're interacting with. Like,
I mean, yeah, but it's a
they're
part
being-
of the video game.
they're being taught by
For
toxic
better or for
people.
worse, communities are tied to their video games.
The game itself isn't like go out and stab someone.
Yes, but all
GTA kind of is.
I mean, you do also stab a lot of people in League of Legends, in theory,
That's true.
depending on your player
Yeah.
character.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can't
But-
differentiate from reality.
Well, like,
Come on,
if it's
man.
like the only thing they have growing up, let's see how well adjusted they are by the time they're an adult.
there are,
I mean,
there are some people that's all they have growing up.
Yeah, I think the thing is like there's a lot more people playing video games now. Like I remember when it was still like kind of a niche thing, like not too like people played them a little bit, but now it's like all the time. Like everyone plays them a lot.
Well, yeah, you got them on your phone, you got them on your PC, you got them on the console. Like they're everywhere.
Yeah. And according to a study from the Entertainment Software Association, apparently 83% of US parents have said that they play video games with their kids or purchase games like to play with their family. So that's almost everyone in the US.
So I got the unlucky ones.
Yeah, your parents don't love you. I'm sorry.
I can't even say
Oh,
that. No,
damn.
my dad played Burnout once and then broke the video
Oh.
game so hard it bricked my console.
Never mind, you're normal. 86. You joined the 83%. But yeah, even and it's not even this like younger folks too. Even the amount of people that are 50 plus has grown from 17% to 29% over the course of 20 years. So it's almost
Yeah.
doubled.
I believe it. When I get old, like the one thing I don't want to go is my vision in my hands. Like I want to still be old, and like I see these old streamers playing RuneScape or Battlefield and stuff. These dudes are like 70, 80 years old. And I'm
Dude.
like, I want to be that.
Yeah,
That's where I want to be.
The one that comes to mind is I think he was a vet, like a veteran sniper. And like, well, yeah, watching him play Battlefield, he's like, "This is how you do this," and he just snipes someone from like a very long distance away, and he's just laughing. It's like, all right, cool. No, you do you,
Oh
man.
yeah, there's games for that. Like World of Warships is like the most old man game I've ever seen. Like, that is the slowest ass game. I could not believe how slow that
That
game
is a
was.
game
I
where you
guess
need
it's
to have made the
realistic.
decision you want 4 minutes ago.
Yeah.
'Cause it's
Yep.
the decision you made at round start is going to impact 9 minutes later in your terms of like whether or not you can respond to something in 10 more minutes. Like-
turning the ship starboard.
Well, I mean, I think like
See
high
you
end
guys
battleships,
next
for example,
year.
in that game, literally take like 80 seconds to fully rotate their turrets.
Oh, I believe it. I mean, it's a ship simulator. You know, it's not just.
It's an arcade, no ship simulator.
My boat don't
I
turn
guess.
good.
Dude,
Good
I
thing
would not
it's
want to play
got
a fucking warship sim.
Some people do. You saw people play those flight sims, and those aren't games at all.
Well,
Those
yeah,
are-
but for a ship simulator to work, can you imagine that having the like 2,000 people you would need?
That'd be kind of cool.
It would be cool until fucking the internet breaks.
Or someone
Oh.
sabotages the boat.
Yeah, it won't be me. I'll play Balatro.
No, that's how you sabotage the boat. You're busy playing Balatro and not doing your boat job.
Your boat job.
No. I'll play dominoes. That's my game.
I
On
don't know how to
deck.
play dominoes, actually.
Ooh, we should all play dominoes.
Oh,
win.
right.
It's fun. You count to 10. That's it. 5s and 10s.
Um,
Oh, it's not as fun in real life. You have to be able
In
to smash
real
the
life?
dominoes on the table. It's not as fun in virtual land.
Okay, that makes more sense. I was very confused on what you meant. Like,
Just imagine you
what
with your
hot
T-Rex
domino
arms.
game are you playing? That's like makes it way more exciting than real life dominoes.
We should all play Liar's Bar.
We should. I keep looking at if we only had to buy one copy, games need to do that.
I think it's
Like,
on sale right now.
I know, but I don't.
money.
But money, it's Christmas time, dog. I gotta
know.
buy those Robux gift cards.
What about treating yourself?
I
He comes
One
last.
money.
Yeah. And you know what? I still have RoboCop, God of War, other things.
Vampire
I
Survivors
have like
DLC.
Vampire Survive. I have so many games that I have not completed or even started. It's hard to buy games with a good conscience.
I'll buy them for
Still
you.
do it from time to time. No.
I get it.
As soon as you finish
All right.
God of War, you get the next one.
Hey, I got it down 175 gigs. God damn. Why?
Delete half your photo albums.
I deleted every other game that I'm not actively playing off of Steam to fit God of War on my PC.
Oh, jeez.
And now for it to sit
Yep.
there for months.
Yep, but it's there.
the last
You
thing
have
I guess is
It
go ahead.
only took 3 weeks for you to download the game.
I had to wait and remember. Okay. Continue, Lionel.
I was just gonna say the last thing is I finally finished Arcane. If we want to talk about that for a quick second.
Oh man.
I still haven't
Well,
even
these
seen
guys haven't seen it.
some
Yeah.
of it.
They'll be spoiled. I almost want to do like an extra podcast
Do
where
you?
we can just talk about that. I mean, I'd be down.
Okay.
I don't know how much we can get out of that. Maybe we can get somebody else who's seen it, fresh opinions. Because yeah, I'd like to talk about the whole series. Without spoiling it, I think it was excellent for what it was. I think it's better than 90% of the stuff, 99% of the stuff on Netflix. And I think everybody should watch it regardless of whether it's about video games or not, because that shit doesn't matter. My wife is the biggest like meter here for me because she hates everything that looks even slightly too corny for her. And she was so on board for this series. All that being said, I definitely enjoyed the first season more, but that's just a personal opinion.
Yeah, I definitely can recommend it like a lot. I really like the show. It was kind of funny because I remember watching the first season. I was like, man, I really like. I just kind of forgot how much I missed this more like gritty, down to earth style of storytelling compared to all like the crazy like fantasy, like oh, there's so much crazy shit happening. And we're fighting gods and all these weird like dimension shenanigans. Just nice to have like just all these characters. And then season 2 happens.
They heard you talking shit.
Yeah, they did. I was like, You know what? It's fine.
It really did end up being fine, but that, you know, I was like, all right, I kind of like where this is going, and then the last 3 episodes I was like, oh, come on.
It's kind of a lot, like, honestly.
It definitely, people disagree with me, but it feels like there was a whole nother season jammed into the last 3 episodes. Like the antagonists changed wildly, and the plot diverted off into another. Don't worry about it. Well, I'm not going to say anything else, but
just watch it.
Just watch it if you get a chance.
It's good. I think no matter like what you think, I think it's still like so worth just watching the journey. Even no matter what you think of the ending, there's still so many good things about the show.
Oh yeah, it's not like Game of Thrones where I can't recommend it because of the ending.
Yeah, it's not like
that show. That show is fantastic. I would never recommend it to anybody because the ending will make you so unhappy. You'll regret your time watching it.
Yeah.
This is not that. This is good all the way through. It just gets a little rushed and convoluted towards the end.
But that's it for me. Soon, what did you have?
I had something on Baldur's Gate.
Ooh, tell me.
Like I'm actually surprised. Did you know about this, Lionel, that they're doing so like I guess for the most part Laren was talking about how like it would just be like little updates here and there, but then now patch 8 is bringing quite a massive amount of stuff.
I heard this was the real last big patch.
Well,
They said it a few times.
So it was they're bringing like they're adding crossplay, photo mode, and the biggest part of it is each new class is getting a subclass.
Oh,
yeah, they're all getting new subclasses.
Yeah, 12 new
that's
sub.
pretty crazy.
Yeah, and some of them are very strange. Like the Ranger getting Swarmkeeper, you can literally have you can use bees as a weapon.
Oh, are they like custom classes?
Some of these are homebrewed, it seems. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard. Maybe that is one. I just never heard of it before.
The Swarmkeeper,
I don't get many
dude,
Rangers because the Ranger class is kind of garbage.
Yeah, you get the Raid Swarmkeeper gives you 3 different kinds of deadly swarms. Also, they all give you the ability to teleport. Yeah, it looks like a bunch of fun stuff. So,
well, yeah, I'm glad they're still updating that. I'm actually kind of surprised they are because they they could totally just take their money and run at this point. The game was so good when it came out. Other developers said, "Don't expect this from us. This is insane."
And then they're like,
they had like a team meeting. They're like, we're gonna make every other game look like shit, and they kept that to heart, and they're still doing it.
They did. Like, I still can't believe that happened. Where other developers were so mad that the game was so good, and they said, "Oh, they had the huge budget and like all this development that they could do for it. Like, you shouldn't expect this out of any game." And the guy at Larry's just like, "What budget? I don't have no fucking budget."
So another thing I had was you guys ever heard of a game called Light of Mortirum?
Yes.
A Mortirum?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I have.
This kind of goes in line with the whole Nintendo gearing up to, go after Power World. But this Mortirum game could easily be another target, but instead of Nintendo, it could be a target for Sony. Because if you look at the aesthetic of that game,
it's kind of like
it is identical.
Robot Dinosaur.
It is identical to Horizon.
Oh yeah, this is Horizon at home.
You looked it up? Yeah. Dude, look at how it's straight up like, goddamn.
Yeah.
Oh, they're yeah. I don't know.
Like, I'm looking at a comparison here of one of the, I guess they're called Agni in Mortirum, but if you go and do a side by side with Horizon's Fanghorn, just look at those 2 robot designs.
Well, like, why do they do this? Like, it's a game about robot dinosaurs. Fine, that's like that's cool. I don't think that should be like the entire idea. But then they go like, yeah, and the female protagonist has a bow and red hair. Okay, well now we're being kind of dicks about it. Like, why even do that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like at that point, it's, do you really want to try it? Do you really want to poke the bear and just
wait?
Like, why?
Wait,
Huh?
Did they take the fucking font too?
I'm pretty sure. Like, dude, this is it's power levels of we just took your shit and like copied it with like, but
Oh no,
what-
Palworld inspired something bad.
Wait, is this Tencent?
yes,
I mean,
Yeah.
it is Tencent.
Never mind. Everything makes sense. It's over.
Yeah.
Wait, even funnier is the style of game is just like Power World, where like, except Power World had the Pokemon mechanics, but it's an open world survival craft.
They're just like, fuck Japan. Fuck you, Japan.
Like, what is
We're
it?
taking it all.
What is it with these like open world survival craft games? They're like, we're stealing your aesthetic,
I don't know.
and we're gonna be blatant about it, no subtlety, and we're not even gonna be ashamed.
This might be a traditional China versus Japan type thing. Like there might be some underlying feelings behind just ripping this game
What a
off.
weird way
game?
to manifest, though.
Wait, which game? China versus Japan and what?
Isn't Tencent Chinese?
Yes.
And Sony is Japanese?
Okay, Sony. I thought we were talking about specifically Guerrilla Games.
Guerrilla Games.
No, this is
I
about
don't know what that
dinosaurs.
is. This is about robot dinosaurs.
I meant
As
more
the-
the
I don't know
people
what Guerrilla
behind
Games
Horizon,
is.
guys.
No, I was thinking big, a little too big.
Okay.
Apparently.
Liz may have
I
been
don't
reading into
know.
it a tad more, but we don't know. So
I mean, if Tencent looked at it and they said, "Yeah, we could probably slip this by," I guess. Like you
Tencent's
it's
just like
kind of close.
Tencent looks over at Sony, slaps this down, and says, "Bet."
Yeah, that's what they're not trying to sneak anything by. Tencent couldn't if they wanted to, They just do what they wanted. They own so much. That is a monster of a company right there. I actually don't know. I think Tencent beats out Sony by quite a bit. I could be wrong.
They might. I mean, I think they own Kuro Games now too.
which one was Kuro Games again?
They're the ones who made Wuthering Waves, that one mobile game that's
Oh.
like crazy popular right now.
Yeah, it's another big
I
one.
don't know much about Wuthering Waves. I know it's big, but isn't that
Yeah.
another kind of Genshin style game?
It is.
It's
Yeah.
less. Is it Genshin? I thought it was more like Honkai Third Impact.
Oh yeah,
Gotcha
yeah. I mean,
games.
they're all the same to me. So I don't.
I know
blame
they are to you. I know there's
They're all
some
the
people here
same.
that probably care about these.
Yeah, it's definitely like that style of game though. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they own majority stakehold now. Yeah, I don't know by how much, but I mean, it doesn't matter. But they're definitely a large studio now with Wuthering Waves out because it's one of their top games. I think on mobile actually, which is a crazy huge market. So
I thought Tencent would be worth way more. So Tencent is worth 3 point something trillion, right? Sony's worth a couple hundred billion. But Nintendo, to put it in perspective, is worth 11.5 trillion. So I thought Tencent would like be bigger than all of them together, but I guess not. So
Yeah, I
maybe
mean,
Nintendo can come
you
at them.
dare doubt Nintendo's power.
what makes
Yeah.
Tencent scary, sort of, is
Isn't that
Is the
11
fact
trillion yen?
I don't think so. I think that's dollars.
11.2.
Well, maybe it is yen.
That's Japanese yen, right? JPY.
Oh.
yeah, because I'm showing their total like assets is 222 billion.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. So yeah, I was right the first time when I thought that Tencent was worth more than
Yeah,
everything
because I think
combined.
Tencent's one of the
Tencent is
richest
god
companies in
money.
the world, right? Like highest
Yeah.
value. They're like top 20,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Okay, I was like, there's no fucking way Tencent's worth 11 trillion. What the?
I don't know why Google would give me like everything else was in USD and then it's like here's
Because it's
yen.
probably
It could be
their reported like our market value. Or like was
whatever
is
with
their-
your logic. Get out of here.
But
No, what makes Tencent so like scary, if that's the word you want to use, is that they are like if in order to get to the Chinese market, you have to go through Tencent, and it's not just like a gaming thing. Like even like basketball goes through Tencent.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah, I don't
everything.
think they have any competition there.
yeah,
It's just they own it all.
yeah, like they are just they're the default. Like if you want to access, a large portion of the Earth's population, you better talk to Tencent.
Yeah. Didn't Nintendo just have something fall through with them?
Probably.
Where-
It usually happens a lot.
2026, right? They're stopping sales of the Nintendo eShop, right? In China.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
They
I
are.
saw something about that.
Because
Yeah.
whatever group they were using pulled out. I feel like whatever. I think it was Tencent. It's either Tencent pulled out of what it was, or Tencent didn't want to renew it. So they're like, well, we're done.
They usually do that. I've noticed a pattern now because they've done that with Blizzard now too as well. I think it's just something that they do is some political pressure to try to get better deals. Because again, that's a lot of money you're losing if you're not
Yeah.
able to get to that market.
All right, gentlemen. Well, or was that it? Anybody have any last breaking little bits of news, or are we done?
I think that's it for
I
me.
think we've done it.
We've done it. Well, thank you
Holy
so much
shit.
for bringing all your news. Uh-oh.
Oh,
I just didn't realize how much Nvidia is actually worth.
well, they're
a
the
lot.
number one company right now. I'm pretty sure.
Their
Yeah,
thing being
what's
only
crazy-
by Apple right now, I believe. I think Apple's slightly ahead.
What's crazier, I was looking at the stocks for them the other day because I was thinking I actually watched their stock, and like in the past 5 years, man, ever since COVID, just
Mhm.
up and up and up and up and up. I wish I'd bought into Nvidia.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I wish, but yeah, that company is killing. It's only going to get stronger.
Like I said, AMD gave up. They said we're not competing with them anymore. It's not worth it at this point.
We'll be Nvidia at home.
Nvidia
We're
at
fine with that. All right. Well, thank y'all so much for the content. Much appreciated, gentlemen.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, listener, for listening. We appreciate the hell out of it. We'll be back next week with more news. If you have any more questions, comments, things to say to us, like telling us how handsome we are, we'd love that. Go ahead and drop us a line at giantenemycrabpod@gmail.com, or leave a like or a comment or any of that shit. Smash that smash a button.
Any button. Doesn't matter.
Any
which one.
button.
Send us your broken buttons.
Yeah, send us your broken buttons. We'd love that. But until that time, I think that's it for us, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.